And I'll do a quick roll call. I'm going to use the Zoom function to do that on participants. Just say, well, I don't think I need you to call out, but Chris Shipper, Cam Hutchins, and Linda Andros of the Conservation Commission in attendance, Pam Flynn hosting the meeting, and town councilors Robin Bates Mason and Sven England attending. Thank you. I would like to then take the next step to approve the minutes of July 9th. And Cam, you're normally the best at reading through that. You won't be surprised to know that those minutes look interestingly parallel to the agenda.
Yeah.
But since Susan hasn't been able to be the
I think that's
secretary,
very efficient of you, Chris.
thank you. I'm
going to use that
the
tactic
fast.
from now on.
I'm taking the fast approach. I was thinking to myself, Kevin had asked that we no longer have someone take minutes, and Susan was going to step into that role, but I find that I can probably pretty quickly do it based on that. And I will say, I went and watched the Zoom meeting that was recorded, so it's very easy to kind of roll in.
Oh, yes, right.
So you do have a, and to be honest with you, why do you need minutes if you have a recorded meeting?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this new age, we can change that.
It's in the charter.
It's in
Sorry.
the charter.
Oh, it's in the charter. You have to have written minutes.
The charter did not anticipate COVID and Zoom.
I think the thing that Kevin had asked for was not that we don't take minutes, but that we don't pay somebody to take minutes.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a little bit like if we don't test, we don't have COVID. Come on. Sorry, that's a thing. So Cam or Linda, would you move to approve the minutes?
All right, so moved.
Yep, second.
Minutes approved. Thank you. And we'll jump right into the mission, and it's great. Robin's on the call. I just got word, I think today, that the Sustainable New Canaan grant for the Native Pollinator Plant program at Bristow is approved. So we are now approved for up to $10,000 matching fund. And as I understand it, if we exceed our number, they may increase their grant and increase their match. So that Patronicity website is approved and the program is approved. And then we head to the September 1 launch of the fundraiser, of that fundraising activity. I don't know, I think we discussed it last meeting, whether either Cam or Linda or Robin or Sven have ever participated in crowdsourcing programs. We're sort of breaking some new ground here, I think.
The Nature Center has had a couple of those.
Okay.
Where with the matching funds, and of course Fairfield Tuesday, Tuesday, Nonprofit Tuesday or whatever that is, Giving Tuesday is similar to that. And then there's a Facebook matching. There was a Facebook challenge that we did once.
Wow, that is pretty sophisticated. I'm sure that there's some lessons, on how to keep the beat up or how to continue to expand your outreach.
Yeah.
Cam, anything on your side? Because I know you've done some work in, kind of like quick appeals and what have you.
Yeah, at Horizons National, we use a service called GiveGab, which basically set up to do giving days. And the giving day we do has nothing to do with Fairfield County Giving Day. It's our own giving day. It's usually in the middle of May. And,
right.
Across the country for the last 6 years, we've raised $1 million every year doing it. This year we did 1.8 million.
Is it a national program or local?
It's national. There's 64 affiliates across the country.
That's impressive.
But the platform is called GiveGab, and it it's set up in a way for basically a fundraiser like ours, or not-for-profit, giving day type thing. I don't know if they have a version that could be applicable to this.
Right. Well, in our case, what my sense is that, each of us on the Conservation Commission will try to reach out to some friends and contacts, and the one number we need to be positive we hit is the 25 donors, and I think we should be able to do that. And then the 10,000, and then no one donor in excess of 25%. But I've also I am going to reach out to Sarah Herring, who lives nearby, and then I can't remember. I'm thinking it's Susie Rama, but I may have mistyped it, who I've met at Bristow. Both of them said they would love to get involved and tie in their networks to support the program.
Yeah, because you still have to have a lot of emails and promotion to direct people toward the website, toward Patronicity.
Got it.
Because they don't really promote themselves. Well, it's up to the organization to do the promotion and to bring people in.
Got it.
Once a year, my friends know that I will send them an email directing them toward the Horizons thing.
Right.
And I'm already enlisting all of you here on the screen to do it next May. Thank you.
We give to Horizons directly. I always get your email, Cam. Thank you. But we give, to Horizons.
That's great. Well, we're going to learn, and we're going to obviously, there are a few people who've signed up as friends of Bristow, and, we'll have to run our outreach programs to go forward. I was going to ask Robin, if you're on and not on mute, is any chance that we could possibly get this across on New Canaan Moms?
Yeah, so one of the things that we have to do with Sustainable Connecticut is any organization that's been approved for the matching fund, they come to the sustainability team, not for approval, but to let us know, and then we're supposed to then help with publicity and to help with the project. So the sustainability team will start doing, get the publicity out as soon as you want to do it. We could tie it in with the bees program coming up, or if you want that separate. You can have a table at the farmer's market. You could probably get a table outside Boombox, hopefully in the papers and Channel 79.
And New Canaanite and Patch and absolutely.
Well, that's most appreciated in terms of the Sustainable CT committee being to help us in outreach. I'm optimistic that we should be able to get this, particularly with the great dollar for dollar matching. It's always a great incentive to get there. So I do know that I was thinking that on September 1st, we do have a bird release scheduled with Wildlife in Crisis, and we may use that as the September 1st kind of event kickoff, and then hopefully the week before that get into the press cycle announcing the bird release, but also announcing the launch of this project. And I was thinking, and I was wondering whether it's not putting too much on the plate, but I may be able to get one of those shovel kind of photographs where they're going to start the beginning of the phase 1 work on Bristow as a kind of like an overlay or a pre or a post kind of opportunity. But that might be a good idea as well.
You have to do all the cliches. You have to do the shovel picture. Then there has to be the big check, everybody handing over the big check. And then I think cutting the ribbon is another one. So
Shovel,
do all of them.
check. Thank you. Okay, I almost forgot that. And then we cut the ribbon.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to be able to drive that front loader up there and do that. I want to get a picture on that. That would really impress my grandchildren if I could sit in the front loader and see me drive that. So might even get my kids to contribute then. So good news that it was approved. I'm incredibly grateful for the help I got not only from the patronicity side, you know, I'm probably being too happy before the program has been completed, but they were very helpful. Also, the Sustainable Connecticut team, very helpful in feedback and ideas. But we're kind of going off on an adventure here. It'll be a new learning for us and for me to see how we accomplish this. But so far, so good. A couple weeks to ramp up, and then we'll be up and running. I'll send some kind of schedule out or start arranging a schedule of how things will kick off. So that's just one point on Sustainable Connecticut. It's related to pollinator pathway, so we'll pass on a 3A. On 3B, we did get some results in from the early river testing. There were low indications of E. coli in the Noroton stream, but generally the report was healthy. And it occurs to me on the river testing side that I'm really interested in more than, you know, I'm not looking at these streams and rivers as drinking water supply, but I'm looking at them from a, you know, wildlife and biodiversity standpoint. And I'm trying to get a better feel on, are they getting too much nitrogen in the water? I assume E. coli is also related to nitrogen, but, and are there other chemicals getting into the water supply? So I'm going to ask Harbor Watch what kind of additional testing ideas there are. So whereas they measure for oxygenation, which is the health of the water, and E. coli, I sort of think, and I think Linda, you brought this up, that we need some kind of a little more sophisticated testing to see what we can do to influence.
Right, right. Yes, because we did some testing in our ponds, you know, for, you know, watershed activity, and, you know, that it pulls up, you know, it shows a lot of nitrogen in the water, and the nitrogen changes all of the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. Not only the pond, but the pond shores, which are separate ecosystems. So it's important. I mean, I think that, you know, the use of pesticides
Right.
is very important to measure as we move toward a healthier, greener planet.
Got it. You know, because I'm with you. It's just as you know, I live by a stream, and if I go out at night, you know, I hear a ton of frogs, and I say, well, that's a good sign for my ecosystem. But
Right.
when I'm walking in Bristow in the evening, I don't quite get the same, you know, noise level, which makes me wonder, is the water in there,
Right.
you know, catching much more residual pollution and pesticides
from lawns.
from
Yeah,
lawns and what have you.
lawns. Yeah.
Well, you got to remember that Bristow, right, is fed from Mead, okay, which is fed from the stormwater runoff from downtown.
Oh.
At one time, there was a high level of arsenic.
Wow. Was that from the shoe manufacturing days or what?
Rats.
Rats. Oh,
Rat
yeah.
baits.
Rat bait.
Rat bait behind the grocery stores
Got it.
When was that, Sven?
20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Last week.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's why I want
So
to
now you want to look for warfarin and coumarin and those kind of things.
Seroquel. Well, you know,
As a
that's why
clerk-
I want to direct the discussion with Harbor Watch to say, you know, what other steps can we take up? And I am slowly investigating the whole riparian rights aspect of all these streams and the ability to traverse them or to have free traversing. If you are you know, the theory is if you're upstream on a stream bed, you have the right to go downstream. You should have that ability. But, you know, in the world of fences and dams and things like that, that has disappeared. Let's just put that as an idea for the future. Any other questions or points on river testing?
Sorry, Chris, the levels at Noroton River were slightly elevated for E. coli, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, thanks.
Correct. And it's not clear on that slightly elevation. Normally they, a high elevation would suggest a septic system failure somewhere upstream. Low levels of E. coli can be related to geese, deer, dogs, could be any, or whatever. So it's not clear that, she clearly said that there's no immediate remedial steps that could be taken or should be taken under this scenario. But I'd like to learn more of how the testing can evolve. And I'm glad we're doing it. On solar power, I don't have any updates, and I will continue to push Mark to supply numbers on how many kilowatt hours are being saved. And then I am going to confess on transfer station point D that I have not, I'm sorry, I'm skipping here a little bit. On point D, my correction here, I put in the point on the New Canaan Complete Streets Initiative. This is linked in a little bit to the GreenLink work we're doing at Bristow, but it's also some thinking and planning about how we influence the next plan of conservation and development to include more comprehensive street planning for pedestrian and bicycle access. We were a few weeks ago, Robin and I had a meeting with Bill Pollock from Keith Simpson Associates, who helped lead a complete streets effort for Fairfield. And Fairfield is like one of the few silver or gold sustainable CT players, and in part because they had a complete streets strategy. I would say that's a forward-looking project for us, and a good thing to support. The concept actually is, if you really develop it, we talked about the GreenLink connecting our great parks. That's I thought, oh, that's a neat idea. That goes all the way back to Olmsted, designing the Emerald Necklace, I think in Rochester or Buffalo, I believe, and also in Boston. So we need to, we need the right terms, and GreenLink and Emerald Necklace are nice terms for connectivity and linking up for bicycles and pedestrians. And as you know, through this COVID cycle, the parking lots at the train stations are nearly empty. Everyone's working from home, but they all want to get out for a walk. So there's more people walking in the streets, and we need to be cognizant of that. May be a model going forward for us to work on, and an increased sense of urgency to do so. Any questions regarding Complete Streets Initiative? Okay.
So how do we proceed with that? I mean, I think it's a great idea, but
I think what'll happen is, I think that the avenue to proceed on that is a discussion within the town departments, and particularly planning and zoning, to see where their thinking is with regards to that, but and then also with the first selectman to see how he views the idea or the concept of complete streets, and obviously Tiger and the Department of Public Works and Department of Highways. So
yeah.
There's a point there, but the name of the game is to introduce the concept early enough so that it makes its way into the plan of conservation and development in a more fully fledged manner.
Okay, because it seems difficult in this town just to get a sidewalk approved.
Very
What is
difficult.
that?
Well, Tiger loves sidewalks and thinks that we should add more. Budget-wise, we've been told that there will be no additional sidewalks due to the cost of maintenance. However, if you've seen the condition of some of our sidewalks in town, you know that we don't spend very much in the way of repair. Although although Tiger's guys did go out and fix some of the broken concrete on South Avenue this year. So that's been nice. But again, it comes down to a budgetary item, and sidewalks are considered a nice to have and not something that we need.
Well, then, and I, to some extent, I think that that makes sense. And then when I look in town at the, when you have a brick sidewalk, there's certain maintenance to it, but other sidewalks become lower maintenance. We do sidewalk work, that section of near St. John going down to Elm was done. There was a section done out in front of the new Merritt apartments. I don't know whether that was done by them or the town, but I think that we as a conservation commission need to be a voice that speaks towards this connectivity and getting it and laying some of the planning track at least to see whether we can get there. And of course, my goal is, or one of my hopes is, that if we improve the pathway through Bristow, that eventually we figure out a way to connect all the way down to Waveney from that point. So at least in that direction, I think that we could make some progress. And then there are other concepts regarding bicycle lanes and what have you. But overall, the automotive consciousness of pedestrians and bicycles needs to be worked on as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Leon worked with Tiger to restripe 123 to make the lanes narrower, right? So that the distance from the white line to the curbing was wider for the bicyclists. Tiger was in favor of that. Leon is in favor of it because a narrower travel lane means the traffic moves slower.
It's traffic calming.
That's the word, yes.
See, and so I think that what we've got is a good idea. We need to get the language around it that creates the support. So that is a really good point you made. And so in a way, we have DPW and the police saying we should do more like this, and so we need to bring that argument up to say how do we address it. So in the crazy
Tiger has to for the state roads, that's something that Tiger had to work through with the state highway.
Well, and that's why advocating it now means we're laying the pipeline, with the state to get approval to go down 106, for instance, to eventually connect to Gower. So keeping our eye on this, at least getting the process rolling, will be important. But Sven, those are two really good points, and suggest that we should be more able to do it. We just need to get some of the will, or we need to get more public awareness and support for it, and from the general public. And for sure, that neighborhood around Old Studio Road is very interested in getting it. I don't know about you, but I mean, I leave early in the morning. I see Fred Afrigola walking in the road on 106 at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning. I'm like, Fred, be careful. People are going to drift into that turn. So keep your eyes going. And we need to do that. I don't know about you guys personally. If I see somebody walking or riding the bike and I see them, I immediately put up my hand to wave so they know that I recognize them while they're there. And I obviously slow down and give them a wide berth, but we need to start imbuing better driving habits as well out there until we get this done. Great points. Any other questions on Complete Streets? All right. I'm going to move on to the transfer station master plan concept. Kathleen Holland had pointed out last time, we've made big transitions from an on-site dump to an incinerator to an on-site dump, and now we cart stuff away. So there is an evolution in transfer stations. We need to figure out how to do it. I'm going to be the first to confess that my efforts to get a date with Tiger were derailed by the storm, and but I will in a week's time try again for some September visits to start at least understanding where do they see the transfer station going, and then thinking about thinking about a broader program. But having said that, Robin, you've introduced a couple of points that I'd like to hear from you on regarding food recycling, which is the program you're launching, but also Christmas trees, plastic bags, textiles, and corks.
Well, the Planet New Canaan is working with the Department of Public Works on a Sustainable Connecticut matching fund project for food scraps. This is how it was done in Greenwich and other towns. So we're, unfortunately, because of the storm, we didn't put off, but we're hoping to launch that probably mid-September, maybe October 1st. We'll see. We've been talking to people to get people would donate towards it. Our budget's about $8,000 total, so $4,000 would need to be raised for the pilot year. As for other additional recycling, just for Sustainable Connecticut, we need it in the minutes, that the town or the Conservation Commission does recognize there's cork recycling, as Linda probably knows, at the Nature Center. It's currently on hold because of COVID, but it will go back into place, as well as, once again, at the Nature Center, the plastic bags can be recyced. That's at the transfer station, the Nature Center, and the library. I'm not too sure, obviously, the library right now because they're closed, as well as the Nature Center. And then just the other two things was that the textiles have been recycled at the transfer station. You don't need a pass to go there to take your textiles as well. And coming this Christmas or post-Christmas, any trees can be taken to the Lapham Pool area, where Department of Public Works will mulch them down and then bring them over to the Nature Center for trails.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool. I'm a little uncertain. What is the textiles recycling? Is that shirts, sheets, towels?
So it's through Bay State. They have 3 bins. They originally had 2 bins. It got so popular, they added a 3rd, Bay State did. There is a list, and we can actually put it on, or I can send it to you to put on the Conservation Commission page. Bay State, it's clothes, towels, socks, stuffed animals, pillows. They have a whole list of what they'll take. It's mostly going to be shredded, so I would not advise good clothes to go there. I mean, they'll probably sell everything they take, they're selling. But a lot of it gets shredded for stuffing, for car seats, for infant car seats, from anything. So that's been, I know that Tiger Man, or I believe it was Tiger, or maybe Don Smith looked for a better, they had a textile company that wasn't taking very much. Bay State takes a lot more. So I can send that link to Lola and have her put it on the Conservation Commission page of what they take.
So if I hear you correctly, those 3 bins that are at the transfer station, the big ones up against the old incinerator plant, that's textile recycling. I thought that was like clothing donations, but it's called textile recycling.
Well, so it's not against the old incinerator. It's the 3 bins are up against the garage, right where you dump items.
Yeah.
Some of the clothes might be sold.
Got it.
Used, but I would advocate that if people have good clothes to take them to either the New Canaan thrift store or to person. But anything that's in ratty, it's all going to be recycled. So you can take it there rather than put it into our municipal waste stream. It helps the town, hopefully in theory, save some money by not putting it there where it'll be weighed and taken away. The town makes a little bit of money off of it, but it's nothing significant.
Yeah, it's just like small space rental fee or something.
There's also a textile recycling site at St. Mark's.
Oh, I didn't know that. And is that more like clothing? Is that would that be like a higher end?
No, it's the same thing. It's,
okay.
It's what you cook. It's almost everything that you can't take to person, that's towels that you wouldn't, or blankets and things that just wouldn't make it.
Right. Okay. So, Robin, for our purposes, do you need us to make a statement in our next minutes that we support the recycling effort?
Exactly. This is just part of our Sustainable Connecticut application. They just needed kind of proof that the Conservation Commission is aware of these projects and they support these projects. So it would be the plastic bag recycling, the textiles, the corks, as well as the Christmas trees, which will be taking place, already approved by Parks and Rec, in January.
So if I could bring a motion, then I have a motion for the Conservation Commission to support and publicize a broader recycling program in New Canaan that would include plastic bags, textiles, corks, and Christmas trees. I'd like to put that motion forward. Would someone like to second that motion?
Well, so moved.
So moved. So
then-
seconded. Any
and then-
discussion? May I take all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Final point F, Conservation Commission budget is set at 25,000. We had set aside a portion of that budget, or 10,000, to support all of the Sustainable Connecticut initiatives being launched by the Sustainable Connecticut team. Those funds are a general allocation. And so the question arises is, can we allocate a portion of that 10,000 towards matching grant programs? And in particular, I think, Robin, you were thinking of something that would go towards the food recycling program, and maybe in our back pocket, something that could go towards the pollinator pathway program. But I don't, off the top of my head, I said that that'd be great, because every dollar we put in gets another dollar matched.
So Abe, who you're
Yes.
working with, when I spoke with him about the matching fund, organizations can put up to 35% donate of the budget. So in your case, for Friends of Bristow, it would be 35% of the 10,000.
Wow.
The issue, however, for the town, if that would be allowed, because when you are going on the website, you are actually making a donation, not a payment. It is a nonprofit.
Right.
So I think the Conservation Commission would just need to find out if the town is allowed to technically give to a nonprofit. I'm assuming would be a bit of a problem.
Well,
But-
my sense is the way Patronicity is set up, you can get online donations, but you can also receive offline donations. So they can make a contribution. Because I could see trying to get it online would be really difficult, but an offline check cut to the Sustainable Connecticut Initiative may be possible. But
I think the sticking point is that regardless if it's online or offline, it's technically a nonprofit donation. And I think you just need to find out from the powers that be if it, the town can actually, quote, give to even though it's money that's going back to the town for projects.
right, I guess the example that would come to my mind would be when the town kicked in $267,000 to acquire the Fowler parcel. It was matched by $535,000 of state money and another $535,000 of private money. So there is a case for that. So I guess the question is presenting the argument appropriately so that the first selectman and the finance team accept that as a doable. But I would also ask you this question, which is obviously, if we have 10,000 matching and we've raised 6,500, it would be crazy not to try to get the other 3,500 matching dollars. So, there's a great argument to do it. The question I had for you is, would you foresee any other uses down the line for $10,000 that would argue against doing this?
I would, unfortunately with COVID, it's kind of slow, and obviously we need to talk to, you would need to talk to the Department of Public Works, but there is a desire, I think, for many people for a swap shop like they have in Darien. And when I spoke to Sustainable Connecticut Abe at the matching fund, that is something they would very much like to support. However, I know with Darien, I believe that the structure they bought was, I think it was $20,000. So even with the matching, I think you would still need funds on top of that.
Mhm.
However, I don't even know if before the end of the fiscal year, with the transfer station and with COVID, if we could even
Right.
implement right now a swap shop.
Got it. So that was what I was wondering is, I'm with you, which is it may be the swap shop idea is funded via this so-called category of sustainable CT because it's got its matching element to it, maybe the next fiscal year, but we have to lay that thinking in to make sure it's there. What about any other advisory efforts or anything else that the committee might need? Could be advertising dollars or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, currently, in regards to the Sustainable Connecticut application, if we can get just one action done in front of the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, it appears we have enough points for the bronze application submitted August 25th. If we can't get that one action, we're going to have to wait till the spring. So there wouldn't be any money needed
Got it.
for the application itself. We've already have enough points.
Great. Well, what is the action you're looking for?
The action I'm looking for, it's actually action 8.1. It's just a housing, I don't have it in front of me. It's basically, it's a housing almost survey of what you have in town, and it's really just to be read off. They ask that you take, Greater Communities has a data sheet of New Canaan, and then you have a worksheet, and you just look at that worksheet and you just fill in. You're not supposed to be, it's just so it can be in the minutes that you've talked about some of the housing issues. It's really just regurgitating almost the information that's in this sheet. So,
as you say that, I'm beginning to understand the genius of the Sustainable Connecticut program, which it is introducing in an interesting manner new ideas into the community, and it does it with a little bit of support, which is this matching dollar opportunity and the way the program's struck. This is great. I'm so impressed that if you might be able to get to bronze. That's incredible.
we hope. Tuesday is coming up quick.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So, okay.
But is it on the agenda, Robin?
It's on the agenda. I just need to speak with Lynn Brooks, if she's able to do it. I put in an email to Sustainable Connecticut to see if it's possible that it doesn't say it needs to be the town planner that reads it. It could be someone else. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
This is just the easiest of all the, each
Right.
action has sub actions. This is the easiest. It's just that everything else in this category, it's just too hard to do during COVID.
Right. This is part of the equitable aspect.
No, we that's already been approved. We got our equity action done and approved, and we're all set.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take the to-do, which is to understand whether the Conservation Commission can make contributions to the sustainable CT efforts
Yeah.
on pollinator pathway and food recycling. Got it.
Well, what you're talking about, the words that people are familiar with hearing is public-private partnership.
Yep.
Okay, and some of them work out good, and some of them have been, just unmitigated horror show, like the track.
Right. Well, the nice thing is we're trying to build a track record in a kind of a smaller scale, so that if we take baby steps, which is these two programs, we might get more confidence in this whole effort. And public-private partnerships are a learning effort in terms of who ends up, holding the bag.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about, is orders of magnitude, like 100 times smaller.
Yep. No, but even so, but the track experience, the Bach Amendment, these are all done so that we are better at what we're trying to get done here. So I will follow up and pursue this discussion with, if I can, with the first selectman, and then get his thoughts, and then talk with Linda as well in terms of mechanisms and Tiger as well.
Also, Sven, to that point, when this money is raised, it's then given to the town bodies, whoever budget to be specifically for that one item. And it can't just be a general fund. It has to go specifically for that. So once the money's raised, it goes for food scrap, once it's raised, we give the money, Planet New Canaan, to Department of Public Works. It can only be used for food scrap, but the budget is that it will only pay for the pilot year anyway. So it's just one-time thing.
And I
Okay,
think the
thanks,
same,
Robin.
right, and the same would be true with the pollinator pathway. We'd put it into DPW. DPW would bid out the planting program, and and through a mixture of planting and volunteers, we'd do the installation. So let's see. Let's see if we can make progress on it. Anything else on that? Because I'm going to just quickly shift to an update on Bristow. Right. Then I'll move forward. On Bristow, I sent out the news that we crossed all the hurdles to get the 5-year master plan and the phase 1 capital plan approved at $199,500. A bid package to do the trail, the wildflower meadow, and the pond seating area went out. We are thrilled that the bids came in with a very, a very high beta. What we were thinking would be a $150,000 program. 3 bids came in, one at about 100,000, which I think you all have that, another
Yes.
at 150, and the third at 200.
Oh.
So no surprise, the $100,000 bid is the one we're going with. Which is great news, which means that somebody really wanted this job. I think they had missed out on a couple other ones, and they came in strong on this. And as a result of this, there's been an additional request being prepared, which is all 4 of the bidders highlighted that if you're going to do the trail and the wildflower meadow, you should coincidentally do the pond dredging, because those dredgings would be placed in the wildflower meadow, and we would have to cross the trail continuously, which you had just completed. So Maria Coplet and DPW is trying to pull together an additional small bid to do the pond dredging, and that is facilitated by the fact that the 150,000 allocation. Let me be clear: if the winning bid is 100,000, you put 15% onto it, so it's a $115,000 bid. There still is a $35,000 good guy that could be allocated towards the pond dredging, and then we'd move our phase 1 program partially steps into phase 2. So it's a big win that the numbers came in so aggressively, and I'm going to say it has really paid off to have had the landscape firm, KES, do such a detailed plan and a detailed cost workup, so that our bid positioning was so much stronger than this is sort of what we want. How much is it going to cost? It was very well packaged. So a lesson learned for me about the benefit of working in that direction. I'm going to skip point B because that's in hold. Point C is already discussed. Point D is already done. We did have 3 college students in there clearing out invasives, and they worked 40 hours each. That initiative has been covered. The tree warden marked trees, and actually the trees have been dropped now, and they were about to finish the job when the storm came. So if you're in the tree service industry, they're off across. I don't even know where they are. All I got is a message of, we'll get back to you as to when we can keep
boy.
So,
We had that at the Nature Center, and we still haven't had a cleanup. This
right,
was years, for about 10 years ago.
right,
No.
right. From from Sandy.
Yes.
So anyway, that's taking time, but I have reached out to Maria Coplet to find out when Lanny is hopefully going to start his program. So a lot of trees down. I have not received any notices, and Tiger hasn't forwarded anything to me from neighbors concerned about it. but I know I mentioned this last meeting, we are planting 30 new trees in there, but we needed to open this up, and I was hesitant, but I will say when we toured it with the executive director of Connecticut Audubon, Patrick Cummins, he pointed out the need to open up the canopy to create this stadium effect. So as sad as I was to see this magnificent tulip tree come down
Oh,
next to the trail, which the landscape architect said had to go given the regrading, I'm encouraged that the program includes a lot of planting to redo that. Just on the award side, the seed money has gone in. We've done a new seed purchase of another $200, and that's stocked on site. And we do have 2 volunteers who stock once on Wednesday, once on Sunday. So the bird feeders are being kept up, but in a more reduced rate. Funds have come in. We did receive a $20,000 grant. That was part of a 5-year, $100,000 grant commitment. So our the Friends of Bristow account seems to be in good shape. Points
what is
L,
the total on that now?
I think in Friends of Bristow, there's $40,000
Wow.
currently on account to be allocated towards programs.
Mhm.
And the landscaper who is considering the native plant donation is on hold. It's been a tough cycle. If you're in a landscaper, you're suffering through drought conditions for 4 months, and so all your plantings are just parched or dying. And now all of a sudden you have this big storm cleanup. So hopefully Pam is wrong that we're not at the beginning of the hurricane.
Yeah, I hope so too.
But I'm hopeful that we'll get some support there. Finally, any other questions about Bristow or any comments? Okay. Finally, on open space report, I feel that we need to, again, lay groundwork to get LAF funding in the next fiscal round. It was an early casualty. It had stayed in for a while, but was finally dropped, I think, in part to the first selectman, I think, in part made the trade-off that if I give up on the LAF, I'll get the full funding for the Bristow part. I mean, there might have been that kind of trade-off, but I know that we need to continue to get LAF funding. And I also know that we need to develop that argument more successfully. And I'm hopeful that the land trust will work with us. And Cam, I understand. I received your thank you for reaching out to Aaron. I received your note. I haven't really acted on it yet, but I will try to push on that open space mapping request, because that is an important key step to get into the plan of conservation and development as well. And it is our charter mandate to keep a current open space map.
It sounded like he was amenable to it too.
Yeah, he was amenable to it. It's just a question of getting it organized. I think he's tied up with his summer stewardship program right now,
yeah.
And also a little holiday time, but I suspect that September, October, we'll be able to get some progress. I don't have any new business points to bring in other than this. It's great. Nice start to that. I think that we need to start thinking about about a Conservation Commission leadership cycle going forward. I believe I'm completing 2 years now after Cam's tenure, and I'm trying to figure out, is a 2-year term correct? Should we be thinking more about cycling more people in and through this with the intention of leadership? Because, you know, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because whereas I see the inland wetlands, Dan Stepanek has been there for a while. John Goodman has been at P&Z for a while. There's a stability benefit. But then my view on boards and board leadership is there's a benefit to having fresh new ideas come in, or new leadership to change the tax and what have you. I'd be interested to hear your perspective, Linda. You both have been long-term members. What you think is the best type of program going forward?
Well, in terms of you and your leadership of the commission, you're so involved and intimate with all of this planning. I think I really believe that I vote for you staying.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, I mean, I've been on the commission for a long time. I can, if you feel that new people need to come on, I could certainly cycle off if if you feel that there's someone that
I think
I'm easy with that. I have plenty to do with my life.
right. No. And where I'm thinking about is when I got on to the commission, I said, hey, I'm at some point I'd like to I could step up and do the chair role. What I'm trying to figure out is who among us would be the next person to take the chair role.
Oh, I see. Oh.
And I'm not saying that because I want to ditch it. I'm saying it because I think there's a benefit of us organizationally making these kind of adjustments or transactions.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big believer in organized transition. I feel like I did a pretty good job at the Land Trust when I stepped out and Art Berry stepped on, and Art Berry transferred it to Tom Cronin, and all three of us still remain there, but we've rotated the kind of leadership.
Right.
And it does change the thinking a little bit, and it gives other people a chance to check.
I totally agree that, having fresh thought and new leadership helps revitalize a mission.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, I mean, I don't know if there's someone, I don't know how the other commissioners feel about leadership. I'm still, president of the Nature Center, which should end in the fall. It's just like
a longer sentence than most.
Oh my gosh. I think probably if we can have an annual meeting, I mean, it depends on COVID and who wants to step in to take on the role, because it's difficult with preschool and camps, and it's challenging.
Even more so in your case.
Absolutely.
I bring up this point is simply to, again, be a forward thinker or forward planning, that I'd like to make sure that when a transition does occur, or that I would be happy to stay on the Conservation Commission and be a supporter of programs and work on initiatives. But I also feel like we should have this idea of who would be the next likely successor.
Right.
Program. And I know, Cam, when you tell me about your experience when you got you were on the commission for a while when you got elevated, right?
Yeah, when Tom Lewis stepped down, I became chair for about 5 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think 5 years is a good length of time for somebody to be the chair, but maybe not beyond that. What I would probably rather do, rather than changing the chair frequently, is to maybe expand the composition of the commission itself. Right now we've got 5 people, and if we don't get, 3 of them can't make it for some reason, then we don't have a quorum, and that has hampered us sometimes.
I agree with that. I mean, Chris, you and I have talked about that, and it's that, having a larger commission would certainly be beneficial, especially with all of the projects now that are ongoing.
Right.
You need more bodies, and the more bodies you bring in, the more possible that there'll be leadership potential with, new people coming in.
Right. I'd like to ask Sven, you're vice chair of the town council. We're a chartered organization, so it's not easy to do a change in between charter cycles, but would it be possible to get a couple alternates added to the Conservation Commission? And that may bring in some more energy and some more support for, projects, because I'd like to do more on rivers and wetlands or river testing. And I don't mean to step into the Wetlands Commission area, but that's a thought. I'd also like to work harder on open space. I'd like to support the transfer station mission. So, and clearly Sustainable Connecticut, once we get to bronze, everyone's going to say, so when are you going to get to silver, kind of comments. I like being more active, and I'd also like to be more of an outward communicating organization, that we share values of conservation in New Canaan because we care about New Canaan, and here are some of the things we care about.
Well, I'll promise you that I will crack open the charter again and see what's going on, and what, where we are, and how far we've been from charter. Not too long. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
I
know
know, I
that.
think it was in the last couple of years, maybe even last year.
Well, the main thing to do was to get, make it a chartered commission. So that was one hurdle, and, if you've got enough stuff going on so that you need more help, we'll see what we can do, but I'll promise to look it up in the next week and drop you a line.
That's great. And again, I don't say it in complaint. I just say it in terms of adding, giving us a little more capacity. And it's also, recognize that, Inland Wetlands has Kathleen Holland, P&Z has its direct support. We're sort of a very independently, very flexible and happy group of commissioners, but we do need a little more, ability to say, could you pursue this? Could you pursue that? And get back to us. And I'm not trying to build an organization. I'm just trying to, have an influence on conservation.
Well, I think it would definitely strengthen
Yeah.
the commission to have at least two more people.
Okay.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
look
for,
into it. I mean, we're talking about, again, town volunteers and people to step up, and, it's not a monetary thing. It's it's just a paperwork and overhead kind of thing. And I got to go. I got to go get dinner here. I promised them I would be done.
Thank you for that comment,
Bye.
though. Thanks for the support.
Thanks, folks. Good night.
Bye. Thank you,
Thanks, Ben.
Sven.
Good night. See ya. I think that concludes it. Cam, any closing points?
Sorry,
Okay.
Chris. I just had a question. Did the commission vote on the $200 for the presenter?
I think we voted for that last time, but I may not have visited. But I think let's put that vote in right here under the Sustainable Connecticut support budget. We'll add a motion to contribute $200 to support a speaker on the importance of bees and pollinator plants. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thanks.
If that's that, I now adjourn the meeting at 7:32.
Second.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Pam, thank you.